Hello, everyone out there in YouTube land, Facebook land, TikTok land, wherever you are. There's been quite a lot of new followers onto my Facebook page and other pages, so welcome to the Madhouse for a start. And you probably haven't heard quite a lot of my stories and other things, and I don't expect you to just go and find them yourself sometimes. So I'm going to go through one of my favourite stories of my life that I wrote up years ago. With Facebook. I'm going to get AI to read it out, and I'm going to kind of react and, as it goes. So let's do it. Here we go. This will be fun.
I am just posting some short stories today. This is the second out of the three. The Jordon Henderson story. Okay, to understand...
By the way, if you don't know who Jordon Henderson is, he's currently a Brentford footballer, I think. Jordon Henderson. Let's have a look. Yeah, so this is Jordon Henderson, Mackham footballer. When I came across him, he was 16, 17. He wasn't this person, and I wasn't this person either. Anyway, let's get back to it. But yeah, he's been England captain. He's quite a famous footballer, to be fair. He wasn't when I met him.
Understand this story, I must explain something first. I am a Newcastle United FC fan. I was raised a Newcastle fan, and the enemy of the Geordie is the Mackham and Sunderland FC. They are the local rivals. Imagine Celtic and Rangers, Barcelona and Real Madrid. It is the same for the Geordies and the Mackhams. My parents used to drag around a CD with lots of songs insulting people from Sunderland and Sunderland FC supporters. Classic hits like Dirty Mackham, Dirty Monkey Mackham and Peter Reid Monkey Heed.
Well, lads, how do you think that tuna's gonna play today, like? I will play bloody marvellous. They'll win for sure. Yes, as I too am completely confident in victory, yes. Who do you think you're fooling, Andy? We all know what you are like. I
Fuck is this? Right.
Dirty Mackham, dirty monkey Mackham, dirty Mackham, you're from Sunderland. Dirty Mackham, dirty monkey Mackham, dirty Mackham, you're from Sunderland.
Heed. We would laugh and joke in the southeast of England about Sunderland with other supporters from Man United, Liverpool and the like.
Rushy.
At the time, Sunderland was a Premier League team, mid-table at best. But a Premier League team nonetheless. So I had to give that little context there.
When I wrote this, Sunderland were not a Premier League team. They had been in the lower leagues for a while. They're now a Premier League team again and are doing better than Newcastle.
It will be very important later in this short story. So I had been given around 6 to 8 weeks notice by my parents that we were moving to Newcastle, back home for them. I saw it was moving away from home at the time. Just after moving home to the northeast, pretty much immediately after the interclass football tournament and losing a very close and dear friend in a tragic car accident.
By the way, that Interform football tournament story is also on my Facebook here. Basically, I'll give you the gist of it. Me and my friends in school, our class, we lost every football match for every Interform football tournament every year for 4 years running. Like 7-0, 8-0, 9-0, 10-0. Most of the time, it was me and my 4 friends, Zed, Stuart, George, and sometimes one other person, helping us against 11. It was an 11-a-side match, but the other boys in our class were such weaklings, they didn't want to help the class out. They were happy to be losers. So I always figured it was better for us to lose by trying than accept losing before we even tried. Even though there was only 5 of us or 6 of us against 11, we went out there every year and played and lost. And then in year 11, all my friends weren't going to do the football tournament. They weren't going to bother. They were scared. And I said to them, I was like, look, this is our last chance. We can beat them. This is our year. You know, just trying to sell it. There was no chance we were going to win unless I could get 11 players on the team. And it happened that the rain got really bad that week. And the teacher decided that the interform class would be a five-a-side tournament in the sports hall. And it just so happened that me and my 4 friends had been playing and practicing in that sports hall every day after school for about 4 years. The only reason we lost on the pitch was because it was 5 against 11. But we got the piss ripped out of us every day for it, all week, every year, by all the lads in our year for how we were shit at football. But it was because it was 5 against 11 every year. That's what it was. It wasn't because we were bad. And this year, on the interform football in year 11, we nearly won. We came joint first. Joint first. But the James Andrews team, that class won because of, basically, I didn't defend as much as I should have. I kept attacking, and they got 2 goals back, and we drew 2-2. And they won, I think, on goal difference or something like that. I can't remember what it was. But that day, I did score more goals on my own than every single other boy in my year combined. And I told them I was going to do that, and I told them I was going to leave, moving up north, and making sure they knew I was the best fucking footballer at that school before I left. And to be honest, I think I fucking did. Being honest, I think I did. And then I moved up north and beat Jordon Henderson. Here's the story.
Accident, then my GCSE exams and having to break up with my girlfriend at the time because we were moving.
By the way, that girlfriend who I had to break up with because we were moving, called Holly, I can't remember her second name, she actually contacted me about 2-3 years ago to apologise for breaking up with me and saying it wasn't the right thing to do and it wasn't fair on me. And the truth is, it wasn't fair on me, it wasn't right, but she probably did the best thing because long-term relationships don't really work. That sort of, not in that context. And she probably did the right thing, but it was unfair on me, and she was good enough to come back to me and apologise. You're talking 20 years later for something she did. Does that sound like I'm such a bad guy? That a woman would come back to me 20 years later to apologise for breaking up with me? It was nice, but it was just, okay.
Moving. I started playing football on the closest pitch to our new house in Crawcrook /written in Gateshead, which happened to be in the local park 5-minute walk from the house. I would go there to get away from my dad and brother and the house, to be honest. I had a lot of anger inside for what I had experienced those last 10 weeks. I will not go into it all here. Of course,
This is the pitch I beat him on, by the way. So my parents live here in Crawcrook. I'm not going to tell you where, but not far away from here, the social club. So when we moved up north, I would just walk away from the house, get away from my dad and brother, and go and play football here. All the time. Just smashing the ball in and out of these goals, doing tricks, doing flicks. I brought many of my friends I've made up north to this pitch, including Andrew. Andrew, my friend, once stood on this edge here corner, and I stood here, and I bet him a $5 that I could kick the ball so well that he thought the ball was going to hit him here on the side, and it would end up curling and hitting the crossbar. But he would shit himself thinking it was going to hit him, but my curl would be that good, it would curl away from him and hit the crossbar. And I did hit the crossbar, but I never asked Andy for the $5. It was just to prove how good I am.
would normally be wearing a Newcastle top of some kind, maybe the Shea Given long-sleeved red one or a typical black and white one. So one day I was playing not long after moving up north, and I was in a Newcastle shirt, and a boy my age walked onto the pitch in a clean and fresh Sunderland top, and I looked at him and just carried on playing football. I needed that time away from that house. I was not about to leave, let alone for some mackim. The lad asked me if I wanted a game, which I was quite excited about. It would have been 3-on-3 or 3-on-2, depending on my memory. But no, this boy said us versus you, to which I replied you lot versus me, to which he replied nonchalantly you're.
Yeah, literally, Jordon Henderson walked on the pitch when I was playing there, at this pitch, challenged me to a match. And when someone walks on the pitch and challenges you, you're like, oh yeah, You want to play a match? Like, there was 3 of them, I think, or 4 of them. So it would have been like 2 of them against 3 of us, or whatever. And he was like, no, us versus you. And I looked at him like, you cheeky bastard. You've come on this pitch to try to challenge 4 of you versus me, thinking you're going to win. No!
So I gave it a brief thought, looked him and his mates up and down and thought, why not? I love a good challenge. I said to the lad, okay, but we will have to set some rules seeing as it is going to be 5v1. I think it may have actually been 4v1, but over the years I have gotten confused on the numbers mistakenly or unintentionally, but how I miscalculated will become apparent, trust me. So I agreed, but it had to be first to 10 goals wins and only one of them could handle the ball and be a keeper in goal at all times. Of course, you can only handle the ball in the box, the same went for me. They also could not score from inside their own half, but I could score from anywhere.
That was my little clever ploy there to give myself an advantage, because it was like 4 against 1. You know what I mean? I did deserve the extra leeway, so I had to give myself every advantage in order to beat this person. Every intelligent way to give myself the advantage. So I set these rules before the match started, knowing full well that I was as good as any one of them. And with these rules, all I had to do was take my chances, and I'd win. I did.
Anywhere. We are talking about 5v1, 4v1 here, and we are all the same age. So they agreed. All smirking amongst themselves smugly.
Yeah, they thought they were going to beat me.
They all underestimated me, and especially the guy in the Sunderland top. He thought he was just going to do a quick 1-2 and score, and well, I was aware of it and blocked it. His mate, I noticed, was too afraid to shoot and expected him to do it, as did he.
Yeah, it was weird. They all expected him to shoot, but he was clearly terrible at shooting. It was ridiculous. By the way, Jordon Henderson, during this match, predominantly used his left foot. He didn't use his right foot much at all. He was left-footed at this point, and he wasn't very good. He was captain of the under-18 Sunderland Academy, I think, at the age of 17 at this point. But I didn't know this, but I don't know how, because I wasn't as good as me.
I quickly had the ball in my hands and they had all pushed forward, so I threw it over their heads and straight into their goal, 1-0 to me. The lad in the Sunderland top protested, "You cannot do that." To which I replied,
Yeah, Jordon Henderson was furious I'd thrown it over them at the goal. Hey, not my fault your keeper came off his line, mate. You thought you could just push 4 against me in my attacking half and leave your goal open, but the rules are I was allowed to score from my half, you guys can't, which meant I could throw it at the goal. I had already worked that out the moment you challenged me to the match, but you were so thick you didn't know I'd worked that out.
It is 4v1 here and your keeper was off his line. Of course, I can throw it into the goal. They did try it, but I was too quick for them and far taller, so getting hold of...
Yeah, so after I threw it into their goal, right, because they were upset, they tried to draw me in forwards so they could throw it over me. So I just didn't get drawn in too much. I drew myself enough to make them throw it, but not enough that I couldn't go back and stop it, so I went back and stopped it. Like... Loads of people always try my shit against me after I've just beat them with it. And it's just like, how stupid do you think I am?
Of the ball was easy for me if they tried it. Now things quickly escalated and I was about 7-4, 7-3 up.
Oh yeah, I fucking hammered them. Skilled past them, in. Sprint past them, in. Muscled 2 of them off the ball, in. Chipped the keeper because he tried to close me, in. I fucking hammered these guys. Hammered them.
Up at the time, and their goalkeeper had to go home. He had a call from his mum and needed to go home for tea. I think he or someone else had been eating dry pasta in front of me, which was weird. Never seen that before or since.
Yeah, that was weird. This kid had literally a pocket full of dry pasta. A pocket full of dry pasta, and he was just sitting there nibbling on these dry pasta. And as an adult, I look back feeling so sorry for this kid that he was so hungry he was eating dry pasta. But as a kid myself looking at him, I was thinking, how fucking weird is this? Like, how strange is this? I didn't understand it. But hey, at least he got fed.
But he said he liked it, so never mind. I move on. So it might have started at 5v1, but now it was 4v1, or it started as 4v1 and ended as 3v1. This is why after 20 years I might have been mistaken slightly, because it can be confusing. So I did end up winning, and
yeah, looking back, I think it started as 4 and finished as 3, because there was Jordon Henderson and his two friends on the pitch, and there was no goalkeeper, and the goalkeeper had been gone home. So I made the mistake of maybe embellishing it or misunderstanding at one point because of the changes in the numbers, but I'm dead certain it started as 4 of them and finished as 3. It wasn't 5 of them and then finished as 4. There was only 2 other people with Jordon Henderson that day, after the goalkeeper left, which was the 4th.
And
so here's the thing, right? I've literally beat an England football captain 4 against 1. Me being the 1, right? And honestly, not only do I think that's never happened in the history of England, I don't think it will ever happen again, because young men of his level of ability in his position would never be allowed to play against someone like me on a concrete pitch, because of all the insurance problems, all the potential risks, and if they did, they might get disciplined by their club, or they might lose privileges, so they wouldn't do it. So this, I don't think, will ever be repeated in the history of our species. I don't think any human will ever do what I've done again. This is like beating Alan Shearer at football when he's with 3 of his mates and you're on your own. This is like beating Cristiano Ronaldo. He's got 3 of his mates and he's coming to a pitch and challenged you to a match. You're on your own and you beat the fuckers. This is what this is like. No one is ever, I'm serious, going to repeat this. I was just in a very strange place in the world at this point in time. Normally, I would have just given them the pitch, but I needed to get some stress out. I had a lot going on. I needed to relieve some stress, and they just offered the perfect opportunity.
Beating the lad who was quite nice about it. Very complimentary.
Oh yeah, Jordon Henderson wasn't a dick about this, by the way. When I beat them, they were very nice about it. He was very interested to who I was, who I played for, what position I played, what do I think he can do to improve his game, where do I live, who are my parents. Like, he wanted to know everything about me. It was fucking funny, man.
Complimentary.
But yeah, he was a dick when he walked onto the pitch, but he left with respect. He left with respect for me. That's the thing.
Complimentary. He asked who I played for, to which I replied nobody. I and my family had just moved back up north. I asked him if he thought I was good enough to play for a team, to which he replied yes. He actually played for the Sunderland Football Academy and said, "You are good enough." I asked which team he recommended and he said Gosforth or something similar, but I said
fucking Gosforth. Gosforth ended up beating me in an FA Cup match 14-0 in the Youth FA Cup. And I think that's when I stopped playing football, because the team, as soon as we were 1-0, 2-0 down, they just gave up. They just fucking, they surrendered. There was no fight in them. There was no bravery. There was no confidence. And I can't stand that. People who don't believe they can win are almost certain never to win. And I didn't want to be part of a team that didn't believe they could win. And these guys, they didn't believe they could win. They just didn't. That was the problem. Belief.
Said it was.
So I handed my kit in after that Gosforth match, actually. So he recommended I end up playing for Gosforth, and then I ended up playing against Gosforth in a Youth FA Cup match, and we did lose 14-0. I was playing for Brighton.
Yes. He actually played for the Sunderland Football Academy and said, "You are good enough."
He was actually the captain of the Under-18s Academy, is what Jordon Henderson was at this point when I beat him. So he was the best footballing talent at our age group in the Northeast. And I put him aside like he was a bitch. So who was really the best footballer in the Northeast at our age group? It wasn't him, was it?
I asked which team he recommended and he said Gosforth or something similar, but I said it was too far for me and he recommended Ryton Football Club.
Ryton, not Ryton, Ryton. And here's Ryton Football Club anyway.
So I said I would...
Ryton Football Club is just near my parents' house, Ryton Football Club. Just near my parents' house here. Go to images. Maps. Fuck away. Yeah, so here's Crawcrook, and Ryton Football Club is here, just down the hill. But we never actually got to play on this pitch. We would come play down Clara Vale. Right, whoops, fucking hell. So, we would go down to, like, this cricket pitch here and play. This is our pitch. That was our pitch. But, yeah, what actually really devastated me the most was my dad and my family just never gave me any support for it. They never tried to help me. So my family live in this area. I'm not going to tell you which house, but this area, right? My parents. And I asked my dad to come to a football match, which was taking place here. And he didn't come. The one time I asked him to come, and do you know where he went instead? He went here, to the pub. And I not only assisted in that match, but scored. And so my dad could have seen me score for his home team, because he grew up here, this is his home club, for his local community. And it would have been a proud family moment, but no. Instead, he was an alcoholic who went for a drink, and it kind of made me give up on football a bit. I lost heart. I no longer could play football and move on because I didn't have the support from my family. Whereas this Jordon Henderson kid, his dad was taking him to training, taking him to matches, driving him places and places, and my dad wouldn't even walk down fucking the road 300-400 meters to watch me play for his home team. So I had no chance. I had absolutely no chance of making it in the football world, despite being the best footballer in the North East for my age group. Unfortunately. That was how it was.
Give it a go. He then asked me if...
So I turned to gaming. Now I'm number one in Britain for various things in gaming. I'm good at shit.
If I was him. Where...
I'm not good at everything, by the way. You can't be good at everything.
Where would I go to play football? This meant he was already planning on the possibility he might have to leave Sunderland.
Yeah, when I beat Jordon Henderson here, he already knew he was going to leave Sunderland one day. He literally already knew, because they weren't good enough, but it's the mentality of that why they are in this position.
One day, something I could never imagine with Newcastle personally, but I actually recommended for the reason and logic of the best fans West Ham, to which he laughed and asked why, and I told him the fans and the club is a proper foot.
He did laugh at the idea of going to West Ham, by the way. I don't know why, maybe because it's London, it's too far away, but
football club, not one of these plastic ones. He said it was too far for him, so I suggested Manchester United, to which he laughed and said no, not that one. I did not pry.
He laughed at Man United as well, correct.
Priors to why, so my third club advice was to go to Liverpool. I did not particularly like Manchester United.
I still don't particularly like Man United. They just beat us yesterday 1-0. Bastards.
United, so I just guessed he did not. I told him if you do well there and win things, they will love you forever at that club. You will become a...
They do love him at Liverpool. He is considered a legend there. He did exactly what I told him to do. I was right. Again.
Club legend. Now I cannot remember the order of all these sentences perfectly, but he also asked me what advice I would give to him to be a better footballer. I advised him the only reason I beat him and all his friends was because I knew I was as good as every one of them, and all I had to do was run as much as all of them, close down the angles and take my chances, and there was a small chance I would win. So I did it. I told him you would be very surprised how running without the ball can affect players and a team on a football pitch. Obviously you close angles and space down even without the ball. So I advised him to run and be the guy who runs, because nobody wants to be the guy who does all the running, but someone has to do it. I also advised him that there are more and more two-footed players in the top leagues these days, and he should use his left foot as a secret weapon and pretend he is right-footed. By the time he finished his career, I said nearly every player would be good with 2 feet, but at this time around 2006 /7 90% of players only used 1 foot. Usually, the right foot and left was and still is rarer. It just so happened that I had agreed if I won they had to leave the court and I would smoke a cigarette in victory, but in hindsight, that was just stupid. The lad asked me why I smoked and things and why I did not play for a team, and I said just stress, and I did not get the support from my family when it came to football the same as he clearly got.
I didn't either. My family never supported me. They just took the piss out of me. They all think they know better than me at everything, so that must be where I get it from. But I was sitting in a match once with my granddad, my brother, and my dad. And my brother turned to me and asked, who do you think is going to be a better footballer? And he said, Charles Nzogbia, who was playing on the left wing, or left mid, or James Milner, who's playing on the right midfielder. Who do you think is going to be a better footballer? And I said, well, James Milner. He'll still be playing at the age of 35. And then John said, Charles Nzogbia, which I laughed at. I was like, look, John, Charles has got a lot of tricks and flicks, but he doesn't carry them through. He didn't have what he needed. He had some skills and tricks to trick 1 or 2 players, but James Milner was running up and down the wing like a machine every match. He was putting in a good cross. He was always doing the hard tackles. He was doing everything all the footballers don't want to do, and that's what he was very good at doing. All the things other players didn't want to do. The hard tackling, the man marking, the doing lots of running, good crossing. He was very good at all those things, even at a young age, so he clearly was going to be a very good asset to any footballing team in the Premier League. Doesn't matter what team he played for, they would love him, right? And that was my position. Lo and behold, who's still playing football in the Premier League? James Milner, and nobody's heard of Charles Nzogbia in about 15 years. So, it's weird. Like, I'd sit and watch football with my brother and my dad, and I play football every day at this point, and they would think they'd know better than me. And I'd be like, no, Dyer should have passed here, or Lee Boyer should have done this, or Laurent Robert should have done that. And they would think I just talk shit and don't know what I'm talking about. And I do when it comes to football, technology, space, religion, politics. I know what I'm talking about, but women. But there's a lot of things I don't know what I'm talking about, sure. I don't know everything about everything. I know a lot about the things I'm passionate about.
Got. Which was fine. I was old enough at that point to take charge of it myself, but at 16 and already starting to smoke rarely. I told him I had already damaged my lungs from this to the point that in the 85 and 90th minute of a match, he would have the advantage and I would be useless. I was having a lot of trouble in my personal life that led me to that path, and I was stupid for ever starting smoking, but there it is. I advised the lad to never smoke or he would never make it as a footballer. I told him to remember when he walks out onto the pitch for England that I will be watching, and to remember that I am better at football than him. Which was a funny joke at the time.
I did say that, and I still think I'm better than him. Like, Jordon Henderson, if you ever watch this, right? When you retire, come find me, and we'll have a rematch. First to 10 goals, see who wins. But I have followed your career through the Premier League and Saudi Arabia, your England career, and you can't shoot for shit. I still think I would beat you, first to 10 goals, me versus you. So, when you retire, Jordon Henderson, from Brentford or wherever you go, come find me. We'll have a rematch. I'll give you a chance. But even if you win, which you won't, it'd still only be a draw because I beat you before, so it'd be 1-1. We'd then have to have a decider.
And he replied, you could be on that pitch with me. I said to him I have bigger plans than putting a ball in the back of the net again. He laughed and asked like what? I said I don't know, maybe the Prime Minister or figuring out how humans can travel at the speed of light.
I've already figured out, by the way, how humans can travel at the speed of light. You just have to figure out a way to make every force of nature treat a mass as if it's massless, and then put on an engine that uses light and 100% of light's energy as thrust, so that it can reach 100% of light's speed and not be limited by the limitations of mass trying to get to that speed. Because if every force of nature is treating the mass as if it's massless, it's still not massless, but because it's being treated as massless, it should be able to overcome the paradox of mass going the speed of light. I'm working on the Prime Minister thing. I'm working on it. I've done the speed of light thing. I'm working on the Prime Minister thing, okay? I'm working on it.
Light. Something like that, to which we both laughed and he and his friends wandered off. Not long after I left the pitch to go home. A day or two passed before I was back out and on the pitch and around Crawcrook and Written, and some of the boys whom I knew were the same age as me and that lad, so I knew he was in his...
It was Dom. It was Dom and Mark Rayson? Dom and Mark came and we were in the park, Crawcrook Park, that park I showed you, right? And these guys had told them, they told people they beat me. They told Jordon Henderson had lied to his friends. He was that embarrassed he had lost at football. He had gone to school the next day and lied they had beat me. They didn't fucking beat me. I won fair and square. Fair and square.
His year or in his school asked me if I had gotten beaten the other day by that lad, to which I burst out laughing and said, "Is that what he told you?" laughing away, and I told them the truth of the matter.
That was my response to Dom when he asked. He was like, "Oh, I heard you got beat by some footballers the other day, some boys the other day." And I looked at him and I was like, "Is that what they told you?" I just started laughing. I was like, no.
Matter. It was first to 10 goals, all of them versus me,
Lying
and I beat them fair and square. They agreed to the rules at the start and it was very fair considering it was 4 vs 1. They all laughed and joked. "Do you know who he is? He plays for Sunderland, this, that or the other." I did not care. Personally, I had more important things going on in life. My home life was a wrecking ball, destroying my life. Football.
And to be fair, it wasn't really a big deal to beat some Sunderland academy footballer, because there was a kid in my school who was playing for the England youth team called Andrew Otley, and I used to tackle him and meg him in the playground all the time until he left. And there were several other players who were playing for football teams like the Arsenal Academy, the Portsmouth Academy, the West Ham Academy, the Chelsea Academy. There was lots of footballers at my school who played for Premier League academies. So I had already beaten people who were at Premier League academies. So this kid was no different to any one of them. It was no different to any other kid on a playground. Just another boy who thought they were good at football. And as a result of thinking they're so good at football, hogged the ball, shoot it too often, and didn't give their team the ball enough. So, easy to beat. Andrew Otley got dropped from the England squad for ball hogging, by the way, which is why everyone used to laugh at him, because some footballers think they're so good, they don't pass. They think they can win it all by themselves, which is why we didn't win the Interform football, because I did that. And we nearly did win it, to be fair, but we would have if I just defended instead of kept attacking.
Was my escape from that, so I never really cared that much. I had beaten a lot of people at football. He was no different than the last. As it turned out, the friend who had been called home for his tea had not been on in the scheme to cover up the fact this lad lost, so had told the truth that I was winning when he left. Personally speaking, I would have let it all slide had he not been wearing a Sunderland top, but I was not about to lose to some Mackim after moving back up home to Newcastle. I thought my family would never hear the end of it, so there was not a chance in hell some Mackim was going to beat me. Not at football, no way. So everyone in his school found out he had lost to me, and I got on very well with all the people in the local area who tried to convince me to stop playing World of Warcraft and come out.
They did. Dom and Mark and Alan and all the girls who are friends with them and all these other people, they tried to convince me to stop playing online games and to come out and socialise more. But the truth was, at the time, I was just so traumatised by everything that had gone on in my childhood and my parents and getting no support that playing football almost became painful. Like, it became painful to go out and know that I was literally one of the best footballers for my age group in the country, but my dad didn't think that was worth leaving the bar for, basically. That kills me. It still kills me to this day, that my dad is like that, but, you know, it is what it is.
Out and enjoy myself with them.
I did go and drink on the field with them once. This is the story coming up here, I think.
Them. One time I went for the offer of new friends instead of escaping my home life, and they were all in the field behind their school drinking. I had experience in such cases, and one lad had drank so much I thought
Alan had drank too much whiskey. Fucking had to call an ambulance because I thought he was going to die of alcohol poisoning. He had necked like a litre bottle of whiskey. Right, wait there. So, this boy was about 15 years old and had necked an entire bottle of this, right? And he was half my size. So he was like very, very short at the time. He's probably taller now. Sorry, Alan. And yeah, so this I got for Christmas last year. Last year's Christmas. So I've had this bottle for 365 days at least. 66 now. And I haven't finished it. I can't finish it. This kid had nicked the whole one of these in an hour. So I called him an ambulance because I thought he was going to die.
he was going to die from alcohol poisoning. He was a really nice lad, as were most of them actually, and I encouraged them. He needed an ambulance. Just to be on the safe side, his life was more important to me than him getting told off by his parents. I was sure it...
Yeah, at this point, I was pretty certain his parents would rather he was not dead and alive, and despite him not wanting to get into trouble, he'd be in far more trouble if he was dead. That was my view.
It was the right thing to do. Always on my high horse of doing the right thing, I had heard this lad who I beat at football had broken up with his girlfriend because he and his family were moving back to Sunderland, and he had pushed her in the chest physically.
Jordon Henderson, by the way. Jordon Henderson had pushed his girlfriend at the time in the chest because she broke up with him because he was moving away to Sunderland. His family were moving back to Sunderland. So he pushed her in the chest and said, "Nobody breaks up with me. Do not know who I am. I'm Jordon Henderson." That was what I got told. I wasn't there. I didn't witness it, but that's what I was told.
Going to go have a word with him, and
I don't tolerate women being treated like that, Jordan. Not even to this day. And as far as I know, Jordon Henderson now has daughters. I wonder how he would feel if someone treated his daughter like that.
and put him in his place verbally. So all the lads guided me to where he was, and well, he ran off. Jumped a fence, and I have never seen him.
He did. He ran away like a pussy. I was only going to have a word with him and ask him why he's fucking, like, physically attacking a woman or manhandling her. But he thought I was going to beat him up. So he ran away. He jumped a fence, ran away. Never seen him since.
Him since, from my perspective, that bloke has been running ever since that day. I then offered to walk his now ex-girlfriend home safely, as she lived near my house anyway, and I wanted to go home as had enough anyway. So I walked her home. Holly, I think her name was.
It was weird, actually,
nice
yeah.
Girl.
It was weird. I'd just broken up with a girl called Holly down south, moved up north, and then here I was walking this boy's girlfriend they just broke up with home safely through an alleyway because I didn't want her to get hurt on the way home. And she was called Holly. It was just weird. Like, I didn't know she was called Holly. It was weird.
My ex-girlfriend I had just broken up before moving up north with was called Holly, so it was difficult for me at the time. I quite liked her, but because my ex was called Holly I knew it would cause an issue. I walked her home and her dad thanked me and offered to buy me a Chinese as he was getting one. I refused out of politeness, although I was hungry, to which he insisted.
He didn't know.
Insisted. I then said okay, I will have some chips then, trying to cost as little as possible. He encouraged me to get something proper, so I got chicken balls and chips with curry sauce and enjoyed it with the lad's ex-girlfriend Holly, and we kissed. I went home and so many life things happened. I never got the chance to treat her with the respect I wanted to. She tried to contact me several times over the years after, and I would get confused thinking it was my ex-girlfriend Holly because I did not know their surnames. Facebook was very new at the time. This would offend her, and after a few more attempts, obviously, she gave up. My loss really, but these things happen in life. I meant no offense, I was just in a bad way. So on I went with my life. People coming up to me here and there in the street and at work. Did you beat some famous footballer once at football? And
It's crazy, yeah, for years after this, right? You've got to understand, this is Newcastle, where I live, basically. Although I live in Gateshead, it's just the other side of the river to Newcastle. So, when you beat the most famous Sunderland footballer alive, you kind of get a reputation, right? So people would come up to me in the streets and ask, oh, did you beat Jordon Henderson? Oh, are you the guy who beat Jordon Henderson? Blah, blah. And people who weren't even into football and didn't know football would come up to me and ask, oh, I heard you beat a famous footballer once. And I would have to deny any sort of knowledge, because I made a deal with Jordon Henderson that I would keep this quiet until his career was nearly over. Because that sort of thing could jeopardise a person's career, you know? You might not get the transfer because they found out you lost to me in a football match, to be fair. Like, I would probably knock you back if I found out you'd lost to one person as a team of 4. I would probably knock your transfer back. So, yeah, I agreed and promised to keep it silent and not say a word about it until it was near the end of his career. So when he moved to Saudi Arabia, that was the end of his career, really, you know. He's just in it for the money now. Otherwise, he would have gone back to Sunderland, really. As far as I'm aware. But maybe they didn't want him. Anyway, so yeah, when he went to Saudi Arabia, I made the story out. I printed it, because that was the right time. I kept my word. I am a man of my word. I live and breathe by my word.
Would just reply, you're probably. I have beaten a lot of people at football. I specifically remember on several occasions.
That's what I used to say to them all. They'd be, oh, didn't you beat this famous footballer? And I'd be, oh, I beat a lot of people at football. You know, I just have to blow it off like it was nothing. I had to be so blasé to try and... Because I'm not a liar, so I couldn't lie. I had to just brush it off, basically.
Occasions people would ask if I really beat Jordon Henderson at football, to which I was always not sure, so just said possibly. I did ask his name after I beat him, but I never remembered it. It was not until I was around 27-ish and I was watching the England match on television that Jordon Henderson walked out onto that pitch as captain of England.
I couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it. Watching this England match, and this guy's walking out, and I'm thinking, I recognise him. I'm like, I know him from somewhere. And I'm sitting there watching it, and my daughter's there, and the daughter's mother's there, and I'm like, I beat him once at football, I'm sure of it. And I'm sitting there like, trying to work it out, and the cogs are going, and it clicked who it was, and I was like, oh, it's him. He made it. He fucking made it. I couldn't believe that he made it, sort of thing, because I didn't follow his career. I followed it since then, but yeah, it was crazy. This kid I'd beat at football was walking out onto the pitch as England captain. But my dad didn't even have enough spine to walk away from the bar to support me so I could walk out onto that pitch. It bothered me. It really bothered me.
England, I looked and my brain just snapped. He was the one. He was the Mackim I beat all those years ago, and before it never mattered to me. But at this point in my life, the lowest point of my life was caused by mental illness. I recognized that face and I knew he must be the one. So I have no proof it is Jordon Henderson other than that of Mackems and Geordies telling me it was Jordon Henderson. Not like I stopped to take a photo with him in 2006 after beating him now, is it? Wish I had, looking back.
Wish I did.
Now I will
Imagine having that video of that match in this day and age. Like, if I had a video of that match in this day and age and put it online, I would instantly be famous. Like, instantly, worldwide celebrity. Like, people would be amazed. It would be like beating Michael Jordan at basketball, one person against four of them, and Michael Jordan was one of the four. Like, it was, what I did was insane. Insane.
Finish this with a funnier twist. Around the time Jordon Henderson became England's captain, I was playing FIFA online as you do.
FIFA.
I was Newcastle playing against other people online as you do, and I just happened to come up against someone playing as Sunderland with the username Henderson 1990 might have been.
Bearing in mind, at this point, Sunderland was a championship team. So why would you be playing as Sunderland against other Premier League teams online as a championship team and with the username Henderson 1990 if you were not Jordon Henderson? So I knew as soon as this match started who this was. Like, details matter, you know, Jordan.
1991 or something similar to that anyway. So I was beating this person 2-0, maybe 3-1 as Newcastle, and
yeah, I was beating them in FIFA as well. So I was literally, Jordon Henderson's probably having a break from being on international duty in England, right? Playing some FIFA. Decides to play Sunderland online. And he comes up against me, playing as Newcastle. And then I was beating him 3-1. And because I knew who it was, I started singing this song down the microphone to him.
Do you live in Pennywell? Do you live in Pennywell? Pennywell, Pennywell. Monkey smell, keys are these, monkey's knees.
And after I started singing this song, over the match, he started getting better and better and better. And eventually, I think he beat me like 10-3, 9-3 or something. But it was only after I started singing this down the microphone to him, he started going wild. And like, you could see the desperation in his gameplay. It was fucking hilarious.
Sunderland on FIFA online, and they had Henderson in the team as well, and I put my Bluetooth microphone on and started singing the insulting Mackem songs my parents used to have in a CD on standby, like Dirty Mackem and stuff. I also made the comment that Jordon Henderson was not even right-footed, he is left-footed. I thought I had the game in the bag and was just going to insult this guy the whole match over voice chat, and I did, but I ended up losing about 12-4.
It was the most fun I'd ever had losing a game on FIFA in my life.
12-4 or something, but I had a hell of a time doing it. I always wondered if that was the real Jordon Henderson.
I have no doubt it was. No doubt it was.
Henderson on FIFA who beat me. Were all those people right that I beat him, or was it some other Sunderland player forgotten to history and they are all mistaken or confusing them? I have no reason to suspect all the people who used to come up to me in 2007 to 2010, before my nerve injury, asking me if it was Jordon Henderson who had been lied to. I certainly had not remembered his name and only knew it was him from other people telling me. People who had gone to school with him obviously had told the truth of the matter. So
yeah, thankfully, right? Thankfully, the people in his school had got to the bottom of it and then told people the truth of the matter. And then so everyone found out, basically. It was quite interesting, really, because normally when I was down south in Cranley, this sort of thing happens all the time, where someone says a load of shit and it takes ages to clear up. But these people had cleared it up very quickly, and everyone found out the truth, and everyone just, it was nothing. It was just, I beat some kids at football who thought they were good. They weren't good. I was better than them. It's that simple. One of them kids turned out to be one of the best footballers England's had for years, or Liverpool's had for years, and probably the best Sunderland footballer they've produced in the last 30 years at least. Maybe apart from Kevin Phillips. Maybe. But Jordon Henderson certainly has more titles.
Here I am, a Cockney Geordie who has beaten maybe the best Mackem footballer ever 4v1 at football myself as the one. In my family's backyard, that is Gateshead and Written. I possibly beat an England captain at football 4v1.
Well, if it's the same guy I did, it's not possibly, but yeah.
4v1. The sad truth is the lad denied to everyone then, but the truth came out.
That is the saddest thing of this whole story, is that he was so embarrassed that he denied it the next day at school and got his friends to try and cover his arse. But because the goalkeeper had gone home early to his mother, he wasn't in on covering it up, and so he had obviously told the truth, and people found out. But it was really sad. Like, why did this person think it was okay to lie that they had lost? Like, how pathetic is that?
Out. I always knew that Mackem was good enough to make it, and even told him so.
I knew he was good enough to make it, but he wasn't better than me.
So, I ended up getting sick of people asking about it because it merely reminded me of my failure and the lack of interest from my parents in my footballing ability.
Yep.
I then ended up in a tragic accident myself and nearly died, struggling with a nerve injury over the last 13 years, but it is football that has helped me recover.
14 years now.
Recover. Kick by kick, step by step I keep up the fight. Yet here we are in 2023.
Oh, I wrote this 2 years ago.
In 2023, me with an injury and with little resources, and Jordon Henderson, a multimillionaire who has won the Champions League, the Premier League and more yet at 16 forward.
The difference between a family who supports their children and a family who don't support their children is a Champions League winner, a Premier League winner, and a drug addict. Essentially, that's the difference between if you support your kids or you don't support your kids. You will end up producing a world beater or a drug addict, essentially, yeah.
17 I was far better than him at football, but not good enough for my family to show an interest. Now it might turn out I just beat some random failure from Sunderland Football Club and people have confused the names over the years. I have no idea really.
It does seem unlikely that there is a different Jordon Henderson who was captain of the Sunderland Academy football team, who's the same age as me, who was playing for Sunderland at the same time as a different Jordon Henderson, and it was the different Jordon Henderson who became England captain and captain of Liverpool and won the Premier League and the Champions League. It does seem unlikely that that would be the case. It seems likely that I did beat the Jordon Henderson, not some other Jordon Henderson. But it is possible, you know. I don't rule it out. But the odds seem to suggest I did beat an England captain 1 versus 4, me as the one. And they were a Mackem and I'm a Geordie. And that's the sort of thing that songs are written about.
Really? I am just going on the words of what others have said to me whom I have no reason to doubt. Most of them were strangers. In a way, I am very grateful that the world would hand me the opportunity to show just how good at football I was in my prime before my nerve injury.
Damn, I was good.
Not many people ever get that chance, and for that, I am eternally thankful. Even if it was not Henderson, it was some kid who said they played for the Sunderland Academy who everyone has told me is Jordon Henderson. Jordon Henderson is also very similar looking to the lad, and I never believed it until he walked out onto the pitch as in...
Yeah, all these times when people told me I'd beat Jordon Henderson, like, he was just playing for Sunderland, he was just a Premier League footballer. Didn't really matter to me, I just kind of forgot about it. And over my near-death experience and learning to walk again, I never really spoke about it, and I don't think anyone mentioned it to me either, because they probably didn't believe I was that guy if they did hear it. So then, when I saw him walk out onto that pitch, everything just flicked, like, oh my god, there he is. He fucking made it. Like, I said he was going to make it, and he made it. And he was the player who ran the most. And I told him to be the player that ran the most. I did also tell him to use his left foot as a secret weapon, and to become right-footed. I don't know if he uses his left foot as a secret weapon. I think he's just right-footed these days. But maybe I'm wrong. He was originally left-footed. He's down on everything as right-footed. He's fucking not. He's originally left-footed, I promise you.
England captain and got a good look at him and thought to myself, I beat him at football, like I was watching a Sunderland fan walk out as England captain knowing I had beaten them at football, the game they were about to
It was so crazy. Imagine you're sitting at home watching England play an international match. I think it was a European match. And the captain walks out and you have beaten him at football. The game he's about to play professionally for your country and get paid lots of money for. And you fucking beat him at it. Imagine how it feels. Imagine how it feels. Just imagine.
Captain my country for. These are not normal experiences in a typical life, I can say that much. Sometimes when I am walking around in pain from my nerve injury and barely able to think straight, I look around me and smile knowing that I beat the best Sunderland player of my generation, maybe the best Sunderland player ever, and I will always believe I am better than Jordon Henderson at football because I proved it, in reality. From my perspective at least. Although he has had a far better footballing career, I wish him and his family all the best. He however has never stopped running away since that day as far as I can tell. He ran from Britain to Sunderland, he ran from Sunderland to Liverpool, and now he has run from Liverpool to the other side of the planet. I am joking, of course. He is just trying to do what is right for
He's back in England now, he's in Brentford.
His family. Which is respectable. So that is nearly everything about this story, and now I will not have to repeat it. I can just tell people to check it out online.
There we go, saying I'm not going to repeat it, I don't have to repeat it, and here I am repeating it. Now, the reason I am repeating this is because I thought it'd be fun to do. There's a lot of new followers on my Facebook. There's more than 100 of you have started following me over the last few weeks, so I thought I'd give you an interesting dive into me as a person and some of the things I've achieved in life. And this is just some daft fucking time I beat someone in football. So, thanks very much for watching. That was fun. Yeah, I was really good at football. But I couldn't have been that good without my friends who played with me every day. Sounds wrong. So with my friends who played football with me every day. Right. So thank you, George. Thank you, Stuart. Thank you, Zed, for always being there to help me be good at football. I'm sorry we didn't win the Interform football. But we did come joint first with the same points. Joint first. And as James Andrew said, I just need to shut up and accept we lost. And I do. It's just I like to try and embellish the loss to make it sound better than it was. But we didn't lose 7-0 or 9-0 every game, did we? And like I said to you boys, you'll remember this for the rest of your life. Because you've proven to yourselves that you are able to do these sorts of things and you are a winner. And I guarantee you still think that. Because you proved it to yourself. So thanks, boys. Have a good one. Bye-bye.